Welcome back into the workshop. Not long after the last video, I decided to go ahead with the flipping back of the rail that I had already flipped. So, to bring you up to speed, a rebuild of the parallel arms, more accurate than the first version, resulted in very similar shortcomings as far as the accuracy of the parallelness, if there's such a word, between the rail itself here of the parallel arm and the track rail, the tracksaw rail. When I close up the arms like that, I've got a tiny little, maybe half a millimetre inaccuracy down there. Down here, almost the same down here. So it's at least symmetrically opposing. Anyway, that's not an issue compared to what it was. The parallelness of this to here is about half a mil to a mil. Still excessive. I need to get it down to below half a millimetre, preferably in that 1/10th zone. I'm going to work on that. But that all came about by simply swapping the orientation of these rails. I had absolutely 100% thought that this was the rail or the component that was an error, and it wasn't necessarily about the lineal measurements this way, but the lateral movements of the whole position. And the more I thought about that, I'm thinking, well, even if there is a little bit, it can't result in the problems that I was seeing. You know, look, that was an assumption, probably wrong. And for a couple of days, I've been going backwards and forwards thinking, what the heck do I do? Because it's something that I don't know or haven't tried. Well, when I was reviewing some of the videos, it wasn't the videos revealed anything, but the thought came to me, oh, hang on a minute. The thing that I haven't looked at was these two rails. So out I came this morning and I flipped this one over, and it seemed to counter a lot of the problems. And I thought, well, that's odd, very odd, because I took pains to make sure that they were created the same and kept their orientation relative to each other from the time when I used the bar to create the holes. So it was this is the upside, this is the upside, that's the left or right side. I did it identically, so everything should have been, spot on. That was, my limits of my engineering. But I had this problem. But this morning came out, I flipped this one, eradicated most, if not all, of the problem. Then I flipped this one, and then it replicated. So it was like, flip this one back. Now what I've done is I've marked the arms in a manner that I can probably relate to. This is the left-hand side, double arrow like that. So now all of these orientations tell me that this is the orientation, should I ever pull it apart, that it would have to go back into to get the accuracy again. Now previously, this version here, I had this threaded rod which has got a 1 mil pitch on it. I had it in this part of the parallel arm, which meant that if it were to be, say, let's just use a proxy, in fact I'll use the screwdriver. If I had this in the centre of the rail, when I did this, it is not in the centre of this rail. It's very much biased to one end, giving the possibility of flexion down here. When I did that, there was a possibility of flexion down there because of the distance away from the pivot. Well, that's a bit of a problem. So I was going to come up with all clever ideas. Some of them would have worked here. But what happened if I put the gauge, the threaded rod, in this rail? So that means that no matter what direction I've moved the parallel arm into, it's in the centre of the board that needs supporting. So just like that. So that does seem to make a lot of sense. The downside is, and I'm going to be putting this onto here, the downside is I've got very limited amount of threadability from here. So at absolute maximum, 100 millimeters. Now, if I put a threaded insert into this rail, and I can thread it out, I just have to have a clearing hole, right through, I could turn it, the threaded rod, in and out probably 70, 80 mil, maybe, but it's going to be a bit floppy. It would be better if I had that sort of adjustability, in and out, minimal. So I turn it when I need it, but to a limited degree as much as possible. So how do I achieve that? Well, if I have got a rod in there, which is tunable for the fine tuning, I've got packers that can be going there. This is a 20 mil packer. Okay, so I move that. That's a 25 mil packer. Okay, so that's a 35 mil. That's a 50. That happens to be a 40 and well, that might be 50. What is it, 50? No, that's a 60. So I've got 60, 70, 85. So all those increments have got a range of about, or difference of about 5 to 10 millimeters. So that's the range that I can achieve just by dialing that in. The fact that I'm using something like these is that such a horrible compromise to consider having, and it's whereas before I could dial that in as much as I want in the amount that this would permit, the gap in between. But it was actually a bloody nuisance dialing it in and out because of the amount that you would have to move it. But this, and by the way, I stopped doing that pretty quickly because of that issue, and I started using packers anyway. So this can, so say that's in the center, and I want to come down. Whoops, the proxy's not working, is it? And I think I don't have to explain this, but if that's the center, and I move down there, I can adjust that threaded rod accordingly, or I can come out here and put a packer in and then adjust it the amount that I require. Seems to be a really easy, simple, could I say elegant, but it's not quite, solution to a problem I had no real solution for. Yeah, there's all of that. So having a set of different gauged packers, I've got a 50 by 40, a 60 by 40, or 60 by, something like that, of these. Where is it, in fact? Oh, there it is, up there. Up there. And probably dotted around. I've got all these different sized packers. Oh, there we go. That I can make use of, different sizes, at the drop of a hat. Put that in there, swap it out for that one, swap it out for that one, swap it out for that one, or a combination of packers. Seems to be reasonable. Now the strength of this will come from this. I have at this stage been able to drill in the end of the aluminium, but what I was finding, for whatever reason, it was kicking probably just because of the countersunk nature of the screw, it was biasing it, and it was actually lifting the rail away from this rail, so these two rails weren't always registered equally. So I'm going to look at probably will still retain that because it is the easiest way. Yeah, I probably will retain that. But I had thought about trying to clip together the two rails. But yeah, that might get a little bit problematic. Maybe, here's a quick a thought. Don't use a countersunk screw. Use a pan-headed screw, so it's only the leading edge of the head that will be biting into this. So yeah, that might be a way to counter the countersinking. No pun intended on that one. Yeah, so yay, a little bit better than it was even half an hour ago. And because of the parallel nature of this, I'm basically getting closer to reinstalling this in a functioning manner. So, yay! One of the things I do have to consider, though, I've got specifically a tap and die set that was 10 millimeters. So, but it's a 10 by 1 millimeter pitch, with the intentions of getting a bit of 10 millimeter rod and inserting in this area here, because it's a bit more robust than the floppy nature of this. But I don't have a threaded insert that's 10 millimeters. It only goes up to 8, or the ones I've got only go up to 8. So I can't put a threaded insert there. I'd probably have to put the thread in the actual aluminium, which is possible, and I'll probably look at that anyway. But now that I've got the chance to make this a whole lot shorter, it's not going to be as floppy. So that could be interesting. The other thing too that I haven't done is, in this case, I've got the threaded insert in the edge of this, so when I turn it, it's only threading through the one insert. I wonder whether I can put another insert on this side, and it would have to be a bit of an issue of dialing it in to get the threads aligned. But if I had two threaded inserts, would it make this less floppy and a lot smoother to turn? So, yeah, food for thought. The other question is, and I did think of it, is how do I get a hold of that two-turn? Because if it's, yeah, that could be an issue. It's a problem, not an issue. Okay, well, at least I've got in my own mind a way forward for this issue that we'd fallen across, because it had stymied me. And in one of the videos I was asking for your help, but we may have circumvented the problem. So any suggestions are still worthy of hearing from you. But yeah, I do like being able to work things through, but I'm not so silly to ignore other people's advice as well. That would be silly. Rightio, that's it. I'm going to wander off, have some more thoughts about this, and see whether we can refine it even further. Rightio, I'll see you in the next one now. Bye.